So Spider-Man 2 is in the bag. I finally finished the main story. Took me just over 19 hours, which is kind of funny. There was a ton of Xbox trolls on Twitter complaining the game was too short, saying it was beatable in 9 hours. To be honest, I probably would have rathered the main campaign be a bit shorter overall and a bit tighter, which I'll get into in a bit. So just want to get out in front and say I actually do like the game a lot. It has issues, but overall I do think it improved over Spider-Man 1. Definitely in the gameplay side, but the story side I'm actually not too sure about. But like I said, I'll touch on that and we can see what you think. So I've always been weird with Sony first party games. I love them a lot more the second time around rather than the first. I think what I do is with the story always being good or great in Sony first party games, I try and get that done as quickly as possible. And of course, when you're doing that, you lose out on some side content or just taking your time really to enjoy it. So I liked Spider-Man 1. I didn't love it. But then when I replayed it last year on the PS5 and did everything, I did find the game to be a lot more enjoyable. So I will say, as much as I did enjoy the second game, the chance of me replaying it in a year or two and loving it even more, pretty likely. So Spider-Man 2 set 10 months after Miles Morales. Peter seems to be trying to get his life in order, getting a job as a teacher, and obviously things don't work out for him due to some sand. Wink wink. So the main plot is about Kraven the Hunter. He has a great idea to attack New York because he's looking for a formidable foe. So you all know the rigmarole. If you're watching this, you've most likely finished the game. If you haven't, go finish it. Straight away, I noticed the improvements. It doesn't necessarily look miles better than Spider-Man Remastered, but they've improved the building detail, the draw distance. That's all been improved remarkably. Now, I said this on the other video that me and Bobby did on the channel, where you can actually listen to. But Spider-Man 2, it looks a lot clearer. So it's like they've removed some smog from the atmosphere. Personally, as I said, I think it detracts from the overall vibe of the game because buildings can look a bit worse, but the game overall just looks a lot more clean, which, let's face it, New York probably isn't clean. Graphically, I don't think I can complain. I was playing it on the 120Hz mode or variable, so I personally liked the performance. So, you know, a lot of people maybe tried it on the 30. I would always stick to the 60, so that's where I kind of played it, either 60 or above on my VRR TV. But it was a nice improvement. Obviously, Spider-Man had those options as well, but not when I first played it on the PS4 Pro back in the day. So obviously, with a Spider-Man game, you want to make sure it plays well. That's not really something I was concerned about going into Spider-Man 2 because 1, it's Spider-Man, and 2, it's a sequel. Did enjoy the moment-to-moment gameplay a lot more than Spider-Man 2018, and this is going to sound crazy, but I actually remember playing Spider-Man 2018 and not enjoying the web swinging. Not for the reasons you probably think. I played Spider-Man 2 back on PlayStation 2 back in the day, and I was hooked with it. But with 2018, I don't know, it didn't grab me, and I think the real reason was the swinging overall was quite slow. Now, in hindsight, obviously this was due to the asset streaming on the PS4 hard drive, so you can only go so fast. But with Spider-Man 2, it's on an SSD, so basically you can stream in assets extremely quick. The swinging is insanely fast. The sense of speed you get going through the city, it's perfect. So that's the one thing I was really happy about. I was one happy little girl. Another thing I adored, and I know it's funny because me and Bobby did a video last week on the channel and he hated it, but I absolutely adore the web wings. It's even quicker than swinging. The little wind boost through the map, honestly, it changes up the gameplay so much. I know, I'm surprised if anyone doesn't love it. I personally don't know how you go back to Spider-Man 2018. It's going to feel like a fucking slog. It's going to feel so slow. But with this, with the web wings, absolutely phenomenal addition. With the combat, it was obviously, it's improved. It has the abilities and the gadget this time around, so it shakes up the gameplay a lot more than 2018. But I don't know if this was just me. See, with the combat, I still didn't find that there was enough variety on how to fight the enemies. I kind of had a rotation, and I would just kind of repeat this rotation, which is fine. That's obviously how combat works in a lot of games that I like. MMOs, for example. I'm happy doing that, but the enemies here are sponges. And it feels like the enemy fights just drag out, which kind of makes me feel the repetition that much more. But like I said, look, it could be just me. I didn't unlock everything or upgrade everything. I'll wait until the next playthrough, which I admit, would probably be in a year's time where I'll maybe do everything and it'll probably change my mind. So take that with a pinch of salt. So obviously the main thing with me, it's something that I focused on a lot. Like I said, with Sony games especially, I just try and get the story done and then I can finally enjoy the game almost. So let's talk story, which is usually obviously key to me bringing a game from I like this game to, oh, I love this game. Is the story good? Yes. Is the story great? And that's debatable. I guess it's debatable to some aspects. So spoilers, heavy spoilers beware here, okay? After Peter gets fired from the teaching job, we get introduced to Harry Osborn, aka James Franco. Harry was obviously a very sick boy in the first game. He's back, he's healed, and if you remember, he was in his tank with the symbiote, and obviously things go down. I personally really liked Harry. His character, fantastic, well done. I think overall the character development with him and Peter was great. So seeing that flashback scene with him and Peter before Peter got his powers, seeing their friendship in the past, and then obviously seeing how they just interacted, but then seeing the reaction to how Harry's mum obviously passed away, and obviously just seeing kind of how that affected him, it was all done amazingly. It was fantastic. With the likes of Peter and MJ, they've been given a lot more to work with this time around. So Peter's still got some trauma from Aunt Maydan, and we see the dynamic of him struggling with both being Spider-Man and his insecurities with his sexuality with Harry. I'm only joking, but I was actually predicting that on the run up to this, that could be a dynamic, because the trailers were giving me some definitely bro vibes that were a bit more underlamb, put it that way. Honestly, that's not the case, but it was more his insecurities with MJ's job and obviously her providing for them, which kind of all comes out when Spider-Man gets the symbiote. Thankfully, he doesn't go Tobey Maguire and start dancing. That's all I can say. I like to give some praise to MJ in the game. I didn't find her annoying at all, and really the gameplay segments in 2018, they made me feel like rolling up into a ball and crying. I wasn't a huge fan of the gameplay segments there. Obviously, if you remember, there was auto failures. Obviously, when you were seen, it fails the game or it fails the save state and you had to start again. This time around, I found them a lot more enjoyable. I actually liked when they happened because it kept things fresh without being annoying. So props to them with the MJ segments. They've definitely upped their game there. With Miles, we obviously see him struggling with Martin Lee obviously killing his dad in the previous game, but basically Martin Lee being captured by Kraven and having an internal battle, should we say, about whether or not he should take out revenge and defend his dad or kind of save the day. So it's kind of going like back and forth on that. I like that dynamic. It's well done, and I'm going to touch on what I think could have actually been done to improve on this in just a second. Now, if you're excited for Kraven, I'm sorry, he's not really in the game a lot, and the times that we do see him, I think they're a bit more short-lived. We get some backstory with him because he wants to be killed by an equal foe because he's ill, but to me, Kraven doesn't have a lot going on here. I personally think it was poorly done. We could have got a lot more here to make it flesh it a bit more, but yeah, it was a bit disappointing to myself. Venom, obviously the big bad in the game. I think he was done well, but I don't know enough. I haven't enough comic book knowledge to really give a valid opinion or comparison. I did enjoy his design and the voice, which was done by Tony Todd, also known as Candyman.
Be my victim.
What a guy. So I enjoyed that. Overall though, I don't think Venom was very negative. There was some things that probably could be improved. So what didn't I enjoy? What didn't I like? Well, I personally found towards the middle of the game, the pacing just slows right down. Now, when I said earlier I would have rathered a shorter game, it's due to enemies feeling spongy and being thrown at you to pad out the game. Obviously, people can get annoyed and say, well, obviously that's the point. I rathered the game had a tighter narrative with better pacing and having extra combat and challenges on the side content. It just gets really slow, and the final third to me, it really wasn't enjoyable. See, when you're playing a game and you're wanting at the end, that is a proper issue, and that's all due to having the pacing not keep up. That's kind of how I felt at that stage. I just wanted to hit the next story beat, even a bit of a gameplay change, but that combat, it really was there to just pad out the game. You could have cut 3 hours and the gameplay would have been much tighter in my opinion. So what could be done better overall? Well, personally, I think there's a missed opportunity here. I would have liked the dynamic of Miles and Martin Lee really coming to a head. And yes, I don't think Miles himself narratively would kill Martin Lee, but if Miles, for example, had the symbiote instead of Peter or Harry, and he killed Lee through that, I think it would have been a great bit of character development that could have been delved deeper into later games just to see the struggle. So if we got the struggle with him dealing with obviously him killing Martin Lee in, say, Spider-Man 3 and just getting that idea, I think it could have been done a lot better. And obviously watching Miles have the symbiote and turn into Venom and have Peter deal with that would have been great narratively as well. I don't think Harry being Venom was a great choice. I'd personally like to have seen something conflict with him and Peter to then add to him being the Hobgoblin, or even having a way of Craven incorporated into the story more rather than being a throwaway character in the end. So maybe giving Craven the symbiote, just something to flesh that out. It just seemed a bit mismatched. It seems that probably the idea of giving Miles the symbiote was a missed opportunity. Going forward, it's going to be strange. A lot of the villains are outrightly killed, but looking at the post-credit scene where Norman Osborn mentions the G serum, but he's obviously paired up with Doc Ock talking to him in the prison, lets us kind of see where the third game's going towards. Obviously Harry, he's not fully dead, and I'm sure we might see him become the Hobgoblin anyway, but there's definitely a few things in the game that could have been done better, and it's all really down to the narrative. The gameplay, not much issue. Overall, it's a great game. It's not perfect. I enjoyed it. I would like, obviously, a few things to be fixed. I'm excited for the third game, but I think for a sequel, Insomniac has done enough to make me happy. But like I said, narratively, it just felt like there's a few missed opportunities. So did Spider-Man 2 live up to your expectations? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please leave a like, a comment, or even a subscribe. See yous.